keeping that. Oh, no. Well, I guess if he's keeping that, then welcome to Sportsballogy, folks. I'm a little embarrassed, but it's fine.
The worst thing I've been caught doing.
Yeah, honestly, I lost my dignity a long time ago. So here we are. My name is Joey with Legacy Maker Sports.
My name is Chris with not Legacy Maker Sports.
And you'll hear from Randy, our producer, a little bit later in the background. But if you are watching on one of our marvelous video platforms, Randy will be in the bottom ticker, and he will be chiming in at different times. And then if me and Chris say something wrong, Randy is going to throw a flag at us. It's going to look like that, and we will correct ourselves based on the stats that Randy looks up in the background. So that's a fun little piece of the show that I enjoyed last week, and so we're definitely keeping it and bringing it back and making it a legitimate part of the show. So we are going to move on to segment number 1, which is today's sports news. So my personal favorite time of the year, the MLB season ended today, and let me tell you, there was drama all the way till the end. It was beautiful. I loved it. So the playoffs are going to start today. So 5 teams joined in today, or yesterday. So everybody clinched yesterday, and then the playoff bracket was set today. So the Marlins, Blue Jays, Rangers, Diamondbacks, Astros clinched playoff spots on a champagne-filled Saturday night to round out the full postseason field. And now, after today, that postseason bracket is set, and it is my favorite time of the year. I am a massive baseball fan, and so this is just bringing absolute serotonin to my face.
Good. And
I love it. So with that being said, they did change the playoff bracket a little bit. And so now we have so the number 1 seed, the team with the best record. The number 2 seed, second best record among the division winners. The number 3 seed is the remaining division winner. And then 4 through 6 are the 3 best records among teams that didn't win their respective divisions, slotted in order of best to worst. So the number 1 and number 2 seeds get byes for the divisional round.
Hold on, let me time out there.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 seed is a team with the best record. Number 2 seed is a team with the second best record. Oh, second best. I didn't hear you say that part.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, all things considered. So, number 1 and number 2 will get a bye week, while all of the other 4 teams play each other. Those 4 teams will fight it out to figure out who plays the number 1 and number 2.
And a bye week means that they essentially... They just skip that level, skip that bracket.
Correct.
They get a free win.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, they get a free win. And so then the wild card round, which is that 4 set, sees the... Oh, goodness, excuse me. That'll see the number 3 seeds hosting the number 6 seeds for a 3-game set, and then the number 4 and number 5 play each other for 3 games. And whoever wins the best of 3 games moves on to the next round.
So how do they determine the wild card? It's like...
So that's whoever... That's like the best division out of the not division winners. So you have... Yeah, I already see your face. Yep. So in baseball, you have the American League and the National League. Okay. Right? So those are your 2 leagues.
Right.
Okay? In those 2 leagues, you have 3 divisions.
Okay.
You have the East, the Central, and the West.
In each of the leagues?
In each of the leagues.
So technically 6 divisions?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's an AL East, an AL Central, and an AL West.
NL East,
NL East,
okay.
NL Central, NL West. Yep.
Okay.
And so your goal as a team is to win one of those three divisions, whichever one that you play in.
Okay.
Obviously, they try to. That's based on geography. So central teams are typically in the central, east teams are in the east, west in the west, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So if you don't win your division, you would then try to have the best record. Out of the teams that didn't win and have the best record, the top three get in.
Okay. I think I'm picking up what's down here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I know it's a lot, especially for those that don't really follow baseball, but it's really cool. And part of what makes me so excited is because there was a very slim chance for some crazy stuff to happen today.
Oh, I love crazy stuff. Tell me about the crazy
And
stuff.
it did!
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So everybody was set yesterday on Saturday.
Okay.
Except for the AL West and them Rangers that we have talked about, 3 times now?
Oh, have we?
Yeah, the Mariners and the Rangers.
Oh, yeah, the Marlins.
Yep. who I thought was so funny because guess who's also in the playoffs? The Marlins. So that's going to be fun when you go to predict who's going to win this whole thing.
All right.
So the the Mariners unfortunately did not make the playoffs. However, they had a chance to play spoiler today. And if they beat the Rangers and the Astros I believe they were playing the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
If those things happened, then the Rangers would then become the wild card team, and the Astros would win the division.
They would switch seeds?
They would switch seeds.
Okay.
So the Astros go from the what would have been the 6th seed based off of record to now the number 2 seed.
Okay, and what are these shenanigans that make that happen?
So it was kind of a lot. So the Mariners had to beat the Rangers because they were playing today.
Okay.
And then the Astros had to beat the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
And if both of those things happened because of who won the season series, so when they played each other throughout the season, whoever had the best record, therefore wins the tiebreaker.
I see.
So both of those teams are tied at the end of today, which means that the Astros get the higher seed because they had the better record.
Right, okay.
Which means that the absolute chaos that was the probability of the Astros getting the number 2 seed and most importantly the bye week happened, which was pretty crazy.
Suck it, Rangers. I'm sorry, James. I know they're your favorite team.
So yeah, that was pretty crazy. So we'll kind of double back to that here in a little bit because Chris is going to get some time to think, and he's going to have to predict who's going to win the World Series by the end of this.
I'm trying to hurt myself by thinking too much.
So moving on in our sports news, the XFL and the USFL have agreed to merge and become one league.
So the Extreme Football League and is this the United States Football League?
The United States Football League, yep.
Is that arena football? What is that?
No, so it is like the XFL in a lot of ways, but a little bit more traditional.
Okay.
But they actually started up the same time the XFL did.
Clotheslines or no clotheslines?
No clotheslines.
I don't like
So this rendition of the XFL is a little bit more, I'll say tame, because of the fact that they don't do the crazy hits that Vince McMahon wanted.
Okay.
But the rules that they play is almost like NFL blitz type,
Okay.
like rules. Like they don't do kickoffs.
Okay. So full-size field, but they don't do kickoffs. What do they do?
If I remember correctly, and I could be very wrong, so this might be a situation where we get flagged for the record.
All right.
But if I remember correctly, they get to start in a certain point to a certain point of the field based off of. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really remember. I just know that they don't do kickoffs. They have some sort of like system where they pick where they start on the field.
Okay.
And a lot of people like it to the point where they're talking about doing it in the NFL.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would definitely have to do some more research on that because I don't want to misspeak.
What's it going to do to fantasy teams with the kickers?
Well, kickers more do field goals, and so they don't really, for fantasy football, they don't count kickoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, so that wouldn't really affect fantasy.
I guess that's true. That's not point scoring.
Yeah, other than, like, if you kicked it off and they took it back for a touchdown.
Right, but that would be for the defense.
That would be for the defense, yeah.
Okay.
So the XFL currently is owned by movie star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his ex-wife.
We're going to talk to a wrestler.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to a wrestler, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. We're actually really looking forward to it. That is genuinely one of my favorite people. My cousin Xavier is going to come on, and we're going to interview him and talk about his wrestling career. But yeah, so Danny Garcia, his ex-wife, is the co-ownership. The USFL is actually owned by Fox, the TV station. And so they ended up buying the XFL from Vince McMahon for $15 million and relaunched in 2020. Didn't pan out because of the pandemic, as most things didn't. The USFL first operated for 3 seasons from 1983 to 1985 before folding and relaunching in 2022. And so the XFL and the USFL are going to merge. They're going to have a ton extra teams, and it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to having some spring football because past the Super Bowl, I kind of get sad that there's no more football.
Dude, I'm just excited at the possibility of like a water boy power bomb in the middle of a football game moment here.
That would be fun. Yeah. I know that they're allowed to get away with a lot more when it comes to hitting.
Do you think they're going to put turnbuckles up on each of the corners of the field?
That would be amazing.
Right? And then like a rope around it? Like, yeah, like, oh man, that'd be so much fun. Could you imagine like Hulk Hogan running the ball
off the top rope?
Yeah, brother. I'm going to score 6.
All right, we're going to move back to baseball a little bit. And this one is an interesting one, strictly just because of the fact that I didn't think that he deserved to be let go. But Gabe Kapler is out as the manager of the San Francisco Giants. So he will no longer be the head man or the head coach. But in baseball, they don't call them coaches. They call them managers. Or skippers if you're a player. So the San Francisco Giants fired Gabe Kapler on Friday after a late season collapse that dropped the team out of playoff contention and prompted questions about the franchise's direction going forward. And this is where I was confused because of the fact that Gabe Kapler, he was a mastermind, and Giants fans really thought that he was, one of the best coaches that they've ever had. Mainly because he went on a 107-win season with only 55 losses, and that's the only time in the past 11 years that a team has finished ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers in the NL West.
So, the 3 games left, like, why? Are they saving money by not paying him these extra 3 games since they're going to cut him next season anyway? Or do they want to get a new coach in to maybe get a little bit of experience with these next 3 games?
So I think the whole premise is they're kind of waving the white flag. They're going to let someone else manage the last 3 games at that point. At this point, the season's over.
Right.
But because today was the last day of the season, but their whole premise was, if we go ahead and let him go, we can go ahead and start our head coaching search.
Okay. I mean, yeah, fair. But that's kind of... I think it could have started that without letting the guy go. I'm just wondering, like, why the 3 games? They were that mad at how... Did they bomb the season? Like you said, they bombed the season? So
they bombed the last month of the season. I believe their record was, like, 8-18 the last month of the season. But for the record... they finished this year pretty even, and then last year they finished at 500. with an 81-81 record. This year they did a little bit better. I'm going to look that up real quick.
So you said that they thought he was like the best coach ever.
Yeah,
but
because
this season was apparently so bad they wouldn't even let him finish it out. Yeah,
so 79-83 was their record this year. So they definitely did worse. So last year they went 81-81. This year they went 79-83. So the team was going downhill. But in my opinion, and here's what frustrates me, is that the Giants have done nothing to improve their roster. They haven't signed any free agents. They haven't gone out and traded to get better, younger players. They're giving him a really bad roster, in my opinion, and then expecting him to win hundreds of games.
Right.
And so to blame Gabe Kapler, who has shown if you give him a good roster, he can win games, right? Because he had a 107-win season his second year coaching for the Giants.
How many years did he coach for the Giants?
This would make year 4.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm probably going to lean with you on that one then, because if he obviously showed, like you said, that he could do it, and then they undercut him, and like, oh, you've sucked ass for 2 seasons. All right, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's where my part was frustrated, where I got frustrated because, kind of watching the Giants unfold, and especially this past offseason, they tried to go out and get – I'm about to rattle off a bunch of names that you're not going to know for the record.
Okay.
But they tried to go out and get guys like Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Aaron Judge. Essentially, so 2 of those pitchers we actually –
one of them was Jose Canseco.
That is true. But 2 of those pitchers we actually talked about earlier this year. Those were the guys that the Mets traded. Yeah.
Dude,
so,
they got paid $100 million to not play.
Yeah, so they got paid hundreds of $1 million to not play for the Mets. And the Giants tried to go get them. And they couldn't seal the deal. And they tried to get, they tried to get Aaron Judge, who, in my opinion, I kind of figured he was never going to leave the Yankees. That's the kind of player that stays in one team and never leaves.
Right.
And so I didn't picture him leaving. So why they spent the amount of effort that they did to try to go get him seemed like a waste of time to me. And so, yeah, and then they handed him this crappy team and said, go win a bunch of games, and then got mad when he didn't.
You're not the bad news bears.
And for those women that love baseball, they're very sad because in a lot of women's eyes, Gabe Kapler is very, very much eye candy. So I got a picture that I want to show you.
I've never seen them, so you're gonna have me rated attractive this, I guess. Right.
I want you to look. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the hand tattoo, a little much.
And they actually go all the way up his arm. For the record, it's a full sleeve.
That's fine. It's just, I don't know, something about tattoos on the hands.
Yeah.
Despite mine being on my neck.
Yeah, see, okay, so, for the record, I said
What?
6.5. Randy said 6.5.
I am secure enough that dude's a 6.5 out of 10?
Yeah.
Nah, dude, that dude's at least an 8. Hey, I am secure enough to say that's a good looking dude.
Fair enough. You know what? I'll give it to you.
I'm a 6.5.
But yeah, no, I thought it was funny because there was a lot of there was a lot of kind of uproar among female Giants fans who didn't want to see him go strictly just because of the fact that they were like, he's the hottest manager in baseball.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would say that they're probably right. It's a bunch of old men. It's a very old men dominated, kind of
boys club.
Yeah. And so, I just always thought it was funny, a really funny concept to me that they were able to get that. So we'll move on to the next one. And this one is interesting. There's not a ton of kind of direction about it out there. But I did think it was interesting and something that I wanted to kind of talk about. So have you ever seen the movie The Blind Side?
I've heard of it.
So The Blind Side was a movie about this family called the Tuohys. It was based on a real story where they adopted this kid who played football. And I should say adopted in quotations, because so what's happening right now is that a Tennessee judge is going to end a conservatorship. Words are hard, which is funny. I'm a journalist. I should be able to do that. Anyways, they're ending that agreement between Michael Oher and the Tuohy family, who took him in when they were in high school, or when he was in high school. So it is a Oscar award-winning movie. And so the judge, Kathleen Nome, said that she's ending the conservative. I am going to struggle with this all podcast. Not dismissing the case, though, because essentially Michael Oher is claiming that the Tuohys, instead of adopting him, they agreed to this conservatorship and essentially tricked him and stole all of his millions.
Okay.
Yeah.
A conservatorship, it's what Britney Spears was under.
Correct, yes.
Right, so a lot of times, and the only time I've known a conservatorship to be a thing for people is when the person under the conservatorship is not capable of managing their own life. Is that what Michael Oher was going on with him? Like, why was this even allowed?
So, and that's the thing. So, what Michael Oher is claiming is that they tricked him into signing it, thinking and told him that they were adoption papers. And what that did is that gave them control of all the money that he made off of not only the movie,
right,
but his NFL career as well.
How long was that conservatorship?
I believe I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to speak wrongly. I don't know how many years it was, but it was a really long time.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. So, how many years was this going on where they're getting his money and he doesn't notice? It almost makes me seem like maybe he needed a conservatorship.
Well, and I don't know kind of the whole situation around that. I don't. Yeah. It could, because at the same time, it could have been one of those things where, like, you know, by the sound of it, they let him keep all of his NFL money, not without any issue. But the part that he's really frustrated about is that the movie made way more than $300 million, or grossed over $300 million, and he didn't get to see a penny of it. Right. And that's his story. You know, like, even though the Tuohys took him in, and even if the movie displayed accuracy in the sense of taking care of him and making sure that he was okay, and like if that part of the story is right, you know, it's still not fair to Michael Oher that they took away the millions of dollars that they made from this movie.
I want to look more into that. I might do that as my book report next week. Because there's so many questions that I have that you're not going to be able to answer.
Yeah,
but like, no, I watch legal stuff all the time.
Yeah, and for the record, like, at this point, like, it's a matter of, like, with these topics, it's more of just the headlines, and we kind of scratch the surface. There is a lot that we don't have a chance to get into the meat potatoes of, and so you know, if we wanted to cover this next week in your book report segment, or we'll figure out a name for it one of these days. But that would be really interesting, because I mean, it's definitely a topic that I would be interested in, because it is really complicated, and it's really interesting because that movie was a really good movie. Yeah. And so I would definitely kind of be interested in to see what happened and how we got to this point. But I mean, that's definitely something that I wanted to bring up and kind of wanted to talk about, just because like I kind of wanted to see where your head was at on it. And,
yeah, I've got a lot of questions on that, and I don't know if we went on for that long. Yeah, there's so many questions I'm gonna have on that.
Yeah, for real. But anyways, we're gonna take a brief intermission, and we'll come back, and we're gonna get some playoff previews in and get some guesses there, and then we're gonna move on to this week's book report, which I am so excited about. We've been talking about it all week, and I cannot wait. And I'm gonna pause right there because I'm not gonna spoil it yet. We'll be right back.
Will virus knock you out this winter? Will your sacroiliac snap out of place in the spring? Will you need sudden surgery?
See how accurate this goes. All right, guys, welcome back. We are now in the process of we are going to check out this postseason picture for the MLB. I said we'd come back to it because of the fact that, like I said, this is literally my favorite time of year. I get so excited. Just because like baseball is my first love, and it's something that really. I get so into this every single year.
It always reminds me of that Dane Cook commercial about there's only one October.
I mean, for real, like that's how serious I take this. So like I was talking to Chris in the break, I have a pen, and we have it written. I have it on paper. And so we're going to write this down because I want to see at the end of this, when the World Series is over, we're going to come back and we're going to visit this. And I want to see how accurate Chris actually gets because like we've kind of discussed before, Chris doesn't follow sports and, definitely hasn't followed baseball at all this year.
Nope, I forget we talked about from episode to episode.
Yeah, and so without any context or any knowledge whatsoever, I definitely want to see how accurate Chris gets with this, just because I think it would be I think it would be hilarious if we get to the end of the World Series and you've absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
I just think that would be the craziest thing ever, because then I'm just going to, anytime that I do sports betting, I'm just going to be like, Chris, I need you to pick one team.
You're right that one time.
So for those on the visual podcast, we're going to go from top left down, and then we'll flip over to the right, and we'll go top to bottom, and then we'll keep doing that until we get to the middle. For those on audio, I'm going to give you the matchups, and I'll tell you what we're guessing on. But, just wanted to kind of set the stage for, those watching as to what to look for. So, first matchup, and one that Randy will probably be watching really closely because his hometown Minnesota Twins are facing the Toronto Blue Jays. The Toronto Blue Jays are the wild card team, and the Minnesota Twins actually won their division. So, Chris, who do you think is going to win that matchup?
I know Randy wants me to say Twins, but you guys know how I feel about bird team logos?
Well, yeah, and not only that, but we did talk about in length how much you actually go for Toronto team.
Back when I was a kid, I wanted to play for the Toronto Blue Jays. I had a wooden bat that signed and all that.
Yeah.
And I didn't play in wood bat league. It was all metal, so I never actually got to use it. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go with the Blue Jays on that. I think they're gonna want it more. Blue Jays are jerks, so. Sorry, Randy.
Well, and what's funny is if the Twins get knocked out again in the first round, that I'm pretty sure that's like a 12-year streak or whatever, that if they've made it to the playoffs, they've gotten knocked out in the first round.
Oh, yeah. They got Blue Jays have history on their side. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move straight down the bracket, and a team that we have talked about in length, 11 years down at the bottom. Randy made sure to correct me. So the Texas Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays. Who do you got winning that one, Chris?
Well, I mean, they're both T teams. They both have really boring logos. And one TB like tuberculosis, I guess.
Oh, my God.
Who is this again? Texas Rangers versus Tampa Bay?
Yeah, Texas Rangers versus the Tampa Bay Rays.
Didn't they used to be the Stingrays?
The Devil Rays.
Devil Rays.
Yep, and they had that really cool like rainbow logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually have a alternate logo where they brought back that Devil Rays uniform. Oh, and it is clean. Oh, it's clean.
You know, I don't like their new logo, and therefore must punish them. I'm gonna go with the Rangers.
You're going with the Rangers. My family in Texas will love you for that.
Thank you, James. I hope I redeem myself in your eyes.
We're going to move over to the right side of the bracket. And again, we're going to go top down, make life a little easier. You have the Arizona Diamondbacks versus...
Hold on.
Oh.
The New Mexico Gloves.
No, that is... I don't know that you could have gotten any more wrong with that. That is the Milwaukee Brewers.
What? I mean, I was wondering if there was a B in there.
Yeah. So, the M on the top of the logo, and then the B to make the glove.
But the way it's...
Yeah.
Diamondbacks.
You're going with the Diamondbacks.
Gloves.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. All right, now for probably your favorite team.
Oh, the Mariners?
The Florida Marlins, who
is this the Bad News Bears comeback team?
Dude, I can't believe they made it in.
This is them though, right? The ones that like start kicking butt at the end of the season.
Yeah. I mean, they.
I'm going with them, man. I'm totally bandwagon with them. I'm sorry, Philly Padres, wherever you go.
The Phillies.
Okay.
The Philadelphia Phillies. So you're going with the Marlins to actually upset the Phillies.
Yeah, dude. I think that. Oh man, that puts them against the Braves.
That does put them against the Braves. But we're gonna flip back to the left.
All right.
Again, we're gonna go top to bottom. You have the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Houston Astros.
Okay. So on one hand, got a bird team, and I love the bird teams. But on the other hand, we've got some craziness that's emboldening this team that went from 6th to 2nd seed.
Yeah, from the 6th seed to the 2nd seed at the snap of their fingers. And let me tell you, they dominated the Diamondbacks today. They won. When I checked the score, they had won, or they were winning by 8. So yeah, 8-1 is what the final score was.
All right, so I think the Blue Jays are going to lose.
All right, we're going with the Stros.
Yeah.
Kind of reluctantly, but yeah.
Well, I'm just playing out how it would go in a movie. You know, the Blue Jays, they made it as far as they're going this season in the movie. You know.
Fair enough. And honestly, I would have to say that I would probably be inclined to agree with you. I love the Toronto Blue Jays. They have a lot of really good players, but I just don't think that they have enough offensive firepower to outweigh the pitching that the Houston Astros have. So this one, if this really does happen, I will be watching every single game of this matchup because holy crap. You have the Baltimore Orioles versus the Texas Rangers. Who do you got winning that game?
And I'm pretty sure you told me this last time, but Cal Ripken does not play for the Orioles anymore.
No, Cal Ripken does not play for the Orioles. But, man, let me tell you, they have, like, the most incredible young talent in a baseball team that I have seen in a really, really long time.
And they're a bird team, and they have a really fun logo. Sorry, James, I'm going with the Orioles.
I would have to agree strictly just because of the fact that, I mean, that team is crazy. Like they play with such a swagger, and it's such a fun team to watch. And the things that they do in Baltimore when their team is successful is I don't know that it quite reaches Philadelphia pitch, but it's pretty daggone close. We're gonna flip back over to the other side. We have the D-backs versus the Dodgers.
Animal teams always get a +1 for me. But the Dodgers, I mean, that's you read about the Dodgers are always number 1 in the West.
Yeah, so they have won in the last 11 years. They have only they have finished in first place every single year in the last 11 years except for one.
I'm gonna go with the Dodgers, man. That's statistics. Like, in baseball is nothing if not a statistics game. Well, they dodged trolleys. I mean, remember the did we ever release that?
No.
Why they're called the Dodgers?
No, we did not. Okay. That was in the testisode, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Testisode. So, so they were called the Dodgers because they were called the Trolley Dodgers. So, yeah, I mean, they're dodging moving vehicles and hoping not to die. Yeah.
Yeah, so, just as Randy said in the ticker, can they dodge a rattlesnake bite? And I think that if these two teams really do face up, I think it'll take the entire series. When they get to the NLDS, they play a best of 7. And I feel like if those two teams met up, really, for the record, even if the Brewers make it, I think it's going to take all 7 games. Both of those teams are really, really good. So that'll be a fun matchup. Next up, we have your Marlins versus the Braves. The Braves have put up video game numbers this season on an absolute tear. They won, I believe, 103 or 104 games this year. It's something just absolutely absurd number. I mean, it was ridiculous. 104 games. They won 104 games this year.
What was the game that the Angels needed to win, and the Angels in the outfield? There was the pennant?
It was the pennant, yeah.
Is any of these the pennant?
That would be the NLCS, so that's the next
game. Oh, I was going to say the Marlins can stop at the pennant and the Braves can have it, but no. I'm going to have to go with the Braves. There's not many teams that I will always default to, but that is one of them.
Well, and that'd be a good team to default to this year, strictly just because of the fact that, like I said, they are putting up absolute video game numbers.
And when I was growing up, they had the 4 aces. Yeah. You know, like their main pitchers that were just like dominating everything.
Well, and they kind of have that this year. But you know, what I thought was crazy was they actually have a player this year.
Really? They have a player this year?
I'm getting there. They have a player this year that made a record that no one has ever done in the history of baseball.
What's this record?
40 home runs, 70 stolen bases. So they've had, 30 clubs, 30, 40 clubs, but they've never had anybody hit 40 homers and steal 70 bases. An absolutely just ridiculous stat. Like I said, video game numbers.
Okay.
Like, I mean.
So dude found the glitch.
Yeah. He found the glitch in the system.
Okay.
And, yeah. So now we're at the pennant, right? So what we mean by that is you win your league, right?
Yeah. And if you're Angels in the outfield, your dad comes back.
I mean, yeah. So this would be absolutely insane. The Astros and the Orioles. I would want to watch that more than the Dodgers and Braves. My goodness. So who do you got winning that, man?
I got Bird Team, bro.
Bird Team?
Bird Team.
Dude, I'm riding that bandwagon with you. Like, oh my goodness. The Orioles are they're such a good team. And even if they don't make it this year, what's so cool is that all of their young players are locked up in long-term contracts.
They've got time to develop.
So they've got time.
Yeah.
So if they don't win it this year, we could be doing the same thing next year, and you could be picking the O's again,
I'll be picking bird teams.
So on the other side of that bracket, we've got the Dodgers and the Braves for the NLCS. Who do you got, man?
I like the design of the A. Yeah, we're going to go with the Braves.
You're going to go with the Braves?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Again, this is knowing nothing about them aside from just my general prejudice against the teams.
And probably what would be one of the most entertaining East Coast World Series. And my goodness, I would probably see if I couldn't catch one of these games, because both of these teams are 5 hours away from us. One's 5 hours north, one's 5 hours south.
That is absolutely true.
We are right smack dab in the middle of these two ball clubs, the Baltimore Orioles and the Atlanta Braves. Chris, who do you have winning the 2023 Major League Baseball World Series?
The first one that pays me for this opinion. Barring that, because it's been 5 seconds and they haven't responded, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to have to go. I think I'm going to have to give it to the Braves.
Braves.
I want the Braves to win because, I don't know, I just want the Braves to win. Like, in my eyes, it'll always be like Randy Johnson and Fred McGriff and, like, the all-star Braves back in the day that you couldn't. Yeah, they were just who they. She was everything. Yeah,
I mean, and I don't blame you for making that pick. I really don't, because at the end of the day, that's a really, really good pick. For the record, I hope the Orioles upset that. Because
I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at all. But it is written down now. So come World Series time, we're gonna revisit this.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we're gonna revisit this. For those of you sports betting, definitely make your bets strictly based off of what Chris knows.
Yes, you should make all of your life decisions based off of what I tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what's important.
I mean, I live my life that way. It's probably not the best pitch out there.
I mean, it happens. All right, so now we're gonna move on to Chris's sports book report.
We're gonna do a commercial first.
I didn't think that I kind of did that backwards. So we'll do your sports book report, and then we'll take a little bit of a break.
So, for my book report today, I had a lot of different topics that I've been had suggested to me, but I wanted to look at one that I don't know what drew me to it. It was just I was like, you know what, let's find the biggest, most well-known rivalry in sports that I can. It's probably arguable, but I picked Michigan versus an Ohio college.
You did not. Oh my God! Yeah, why don't we just piss off both of their fan bases?
Well, yeah.
That's Michigan versus. Let me do this right.
Oh.
Let me do this the way that they would want me to. Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. Not the way that I agree with.
I figured I did it the way they wanted me to, just like.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Ohio wanted me to do that to Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan wanted me to do that to an Ohio college.
That's fair. That's fair. But we'll go with. So he's talking about Michigan and the Ohio State University. Yeah. I can't believe they still tried to trademark the word "the."
I saw. When I was looking through this, I saw a clip of Jon Stewart that was in Ohio making fun of that. Like he was doing the Daily Show from Ohio.
That's so funny, because, I mean, it's just such a funny concept to me every time that I've seen, like, if you watch football and they do all their introductions or whatever, and you get an NFL player that was from Ohio State, they're like, yada, 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 the Ohio State University. And I'm just like, dude, really?
Are there other Ohio State universities that they need to say that?
So there's the University of Ohio.
Right.
And so they don't want, for some reason, they think that saying the Ohio State University puts them over any other university in Ohio.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it is a title when you add "the" in front of something.
Yeah, and so they're, trying to essentially, establish dominance in a market that doesn't really need to be there, because The University of Ohio is, how do I put this delicately?
They're wanting.
They're not very reputable. They're not a very good football team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. I guess Ohio State's always taking them.
Yeah, I mean, well, Ohio State in general is one of the most, like, when we talk about college football, Ohio State and Michigan, for that matter, are always in the top 25 schools when it comes to football.
Yeah.
As of right now, and I sent this to you a little bit earlier, as of today, Michigan and Ohio State are both in the top 5.
Yeah, Michigan at 2 and OSU at 4, right?
Correct, yeah. So
I'm excited for this year's game then, knowing what I'm about to talk about here.
Yeah. So we'll have to do a revisit to this topic when they play each other.
Actually, that's what I was about to say. Is that I'm gonna make this a part 1 because there is so much. We are closing in on 200 years of history.
Yeah.
Because this rivalry started in 1835. Right, before Michigan was even a state. Okay.
Wait. So how do you have the University of Michigan if Michigan isn't a state?
Trust me, man. We're getting there.
Okay, all right. For the record, I have stayed pretty, I'll say ignorant about this because of the fact that you said that you were going to talk about it. And I know a lot of the, like, mainstream pieces of this, which I won't spoil yet because I'll let you go into it. But there's a lot of details that I don't know, and not being directly involved with this rivalry, there's a lot that I don't know. So I'm excited to learn.
Yeah, people straight up died over this. So,
oh my gosh.
So back in 1835, Ohio and Michigan were both competing over the strip of land that Toledo was in.
Okay.
And Michigan wanted it. Ohio wanted it. So Michigan sent 1,000 militia. Ohio sent 600 militia, and 9 people ended up dead.
Oh my god!
And I am glossing over this like a lightning speed. We're also so they drew up a line on the map, like, okay, there's a whole bunch of this razzmatazz and stuff going on with the politics, and people in DC are freaking out because now we've got like senators that are being sent from Michigan that aren't being seated, and so one of the maps that they were using was wrong.
Oh no!
And so they made a provision for it in the first deal for the border dispute, and then when the second deal came around, that provision wasn't in there, but the original language referencing it was, which like caused this thing with the map. It's a whole deal. It was so confusing.
It's so funny how geography plays into one of the biggest college football rivalries in existence.
Well, okay, so what ended up happening is to quell everything, the government said, all right, Michigan, we're going to give you the Upper Peninsula. All right? Just stop your crap.
Yeah.
And Michigan didn't want it because they thought, like, back then it was considered to be just uninhabitable wilderness. That's all it will ever be.
Yeah.
It's worthless land. And there were grants coming out for states. So Michigan said, well, we want those grants. So they just went ahead and applied for statehood. They said, okay, we'll take the deal so we can become a state, get the money. Turns out there's some huge mineral deposits on that Upper Peninsula, and that's what led to Michigan becoming the automotive manufacturer of the U.S. and one of them in the world. So, and I think it was really funny when I saw this written down. So I'm totally going to repeat it here. Is that this Toledo War was between Michigan and Ohio, but Wisconsin ended up being the biggest loser because that land was supposed to go to Wisconsin.
Oh no!
And so for years, Michigan thought that they were left holding the bag, and then turns out Ohio is about to get real salty about it because they found that the copper ore deposit.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So okay, what I'm hearing is that I mean that makes sense as to why this is such a big rivalry because of the fact that like it doesn't just boil down to
colleges.
To colleges, it boils down to these physical states.
Yeah.
And the people in these states freaking hate each other.
Actually fought over it. And when I was going through, the impression that I got, and a lot of the Michiganders even said this, is that Michigan doesn't quite care to think about Ohio Ohio freaking hates Michigan. Ohio views Michigans as snobs and snooty, and Michigan views Ohio as rednecks. And so it's like this dynamic that's played out over the years. So that ended up starting this rivalry between the states, which once the colleges came about, the football and the right there.
Right, and so then it results in, we already hated you, and now we have a reason to hate you.
Right, and then what ended up coming after that is that the first 15 games that they played, OSU lost.
Oh no! That's changed a lot.
Oh, yeah, I know. When I looked at it, I was like, wait a sec. I just saw that the record was like 60 and 51 or something, so that means that if you discount those 15 games, they're pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah.
And when the coach that eventually was going to beat Michigan for the first real trouncing, they asked him, "How are you going to beat Michigan?" He said, "Well, you got to demystify them. They put their pants on one leg at a time." Okay, and so then he ended up beating them.
Yeah.
And so now it's a tradition that if you're OSU and you beat Michigan, you get a little pair of golden pants. It's like a little necklace charm.
Oh my God! I didn't know that.
They were going through all these players like I won this trophy, I won that trophy. These pants, these are what I love. Yeah, it was great watching them just talk about it. Just each holding up like 2 or 3 pairs of these little charm pants. These are my most prized possession. That's
so funny. Oh my goodness. Because there's so much stuff. All right, I'll let you keep going. Yeah.
So once that started going, the next 4 games, OSU scored 114 points to Michigan's 0. Right. So Michigan brings in a new coach.
Okay.
The new coach has new helmets made, because back then they were just wearing the black leather.
Right.
So now this is when they get their blue and gold helmets, so the quarterback can see them easier down the field.
That's why they have those stupid things? Let me tell you, I've always thought Michigan, okay, for the record, I'm going to say this and I'm going to get a lot of hate. Michigan has some of the dumbest helmets out in college football. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, now that makes sense, given all the rest of the stuff. They're all about tradition. God, dude, they were like, there's some old guy 100 years sat that chair, you're going to sit in it too. So... one of the more crazy games I ever saw or heard about was in 1950. It was the Snowball, is what they ended up calling it, because there was a huge blizzard, and neither game wanted to forfeit or back down.
Right.
And so it was 45 punts in the game.
Oh man.
Many of them on the first downs.
They just punted on first down?
Because it was I watched a couple of snippets of the video. They'd be running with the ball, and they'd hit an icy patch and just go get knocked down, and the ball would go, and the other team would pick it up and run it back.
That's so funny.
You could, if you had yakety sax, that's what it was like going on in the background. Man, it was so funny watching this. So then Michigan ends up winning without ever registering a first down.
That's insane. What?
The OSU coach lost his job over it.
I would say so. My God.
Watching that, I'm definitely going to bring that up again and maybe go into more detail of it. But that was really funny watching that and hearing them. Because it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was November 25th, I think it was, and everybody went to sleep and woke up the next day and what? So later on, a couple years go by, and OSU gets what I have written down as a certified madman as a coach, Woody Hayes.
Yeah.
This dude was nuts. Screaming at people. There would be, if he was coaching the team and they made a mistake, it was a fumble during practice, he would bite his hand. He would bite his hand so hard, he would bleed. He would snap his glasses in half, screaming at people and hollering and stuff.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah, dude was literally crazy, and he refused to say the word Michigan. He would say that state up north, or that team up north.
How petty do you have to be?
Oh, petty enough that I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I'm going to assume not. I assume that it was just a joke that he made and it kind of spun out of control. But that he ran out of gas in Michigan and pushed the car over to Ohio because he refused to buy Michigan gas.
Okay, for the record, I don't believe that's true either, but if it was 100% true, I would not dispute it.
The thing is, this is the dude that would do that.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I don't know if that's true. The way it was presented didn't seem like it was, but I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Dude was crazy. So then they go on a national rampage for years. They become one of the best teams, like championship. And so what I've got, Woody was a trash talking jerk. And there was one game, one in particular, that I think really put the nail in the coffin between the two states' rivalry, that there will always be a rivalry, was that there was a game where they were up by a lot of points. There was no way OSU is coming back, or there's no way Michigan's coming back.
Right.
And Woody decides to go for a 2-point conversion after a touchdown. And then he asked him after the game, "Why did you go for the 2 points?" Because they wouldn't let me go for 3. Dude was just a trash talk. And then after that, you have a new coach for Michigan, Bo
Schmeckler sounds correct, yeah.
Who was an OSU student of Woody's.
Oh, goodness.
And that begins what's called the 10-year war between them. And it's just a back and forth. And I think, after watching this video, when I hear people talk about the rivalry, this is what I think of.
Right.
These years are really laying that foundation. It was always kind of back and forth. There would be times when, there would be 20 years where Michigan wins all of them, and then 15 years where OSU wins all of them, and then this happens, and it's just back and forth. That's going to look great on camera. But, Woody ends up going paranoid. Crazy paranoid. They had a team in a restaurant one time, and he stood up and he screamed for all the female servers to get out, and he wanted the cooks to serve the team because he thought Bo had planted the waitresses there to distract them. He thought he called the cops because he thought that some dude that was recording their practices, he thought that Bo had sent them, which I guess I could see that one. Yeah. But the way they made it sound like it didn't actually happen. That wasn't very clear when I was looking at this. So it's this whole thing. You've got this crazy dude that's leading OSU who ends up getting fired because he punched a Clemson player during a game.
Good Lord. And that's not even Michigan. Imagine what would happen if he was playing Michigan. He probably would have killed someone.
Yep. So Michigan, another reason that Ohio really doesn't like Michigan is Michigan is chock full of Ohio players.
Yeah.
And even I, not knowing sports, I know that Ohio high schools are really looked at for college football.
Right.
And they're right there.
Yeah.
For Michigan. And so Michigan poaches Ohio players. Ohio never cares for Michigan players. They don't care. Yeah. And they want their own players. And so, so I think that's where I'm going to end this as part one. We're going to pick up with the real craziness of Woody and Bo when their game comes around, because I think it's the third Saturday in November is what it is, or something is what it after Thanksgiving, something to that effect. So we'll come back to part 2 in a couple months, because there are all sorts of trolling behaviors that they do to each other.
Oh my goodness!
The reason that I call Michigan Michigan is because OSU will remove all of the M's from campus. Street signs, it doesn't matter. If it's an M, it's gone.
Yep. and it's funny because professors will actually remove M's from their papers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so they'll remove it from whiteboards, they'll remove it from buildings, they'll remove it from anything and everything that has the letter M is gone. And it is one of the pettiest things in all of college football, and I am here for it. And right now they're ranked second and fourth, and if that stays that way,
that's why I'm excited. Because after reading this, they've got great teams. I don't follow sports, but I love watching a good game. I've said it several times. I watch the Super Bowl, and not just for the commercials. I don't even remember the commercials half the time. I literally watch the Super Bowl for the game. Now, don't ask me to tell you who won any of them. I have watched all of the last 15, but I couldn't tell you who really played in most of them.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you what, like, if it stays that way, like, I guarantee you that every important news outlet in the history of ever is going to be there. You know, College Game Day, whatever Fox is doing now, I don't remember what they named theirs. You know, but, like, I mean, that's
Sportsballogy, the main ones.
Dude, I wish we could go to Michigan. That would be incredible. Sponsorship opportunities.
Hey, Michigan, if you would like me to continue to use your M and OSU, I will give you the title of the. You just got to provide us with 3 plane tickets because I'm not getting Randy.
Yeah, oh, yeah. No, Randy needs to come, too. So we'll go ahead and take a brief intermission, but yeah.
Hey, we got Xavier's interview coming up next, don't we?
Not next. Next, we actually have Randy's Fantastik
that's right.
Facts.
I'm sorry, Randy. I'm not trying to cut you out.
And then after that, we have Xavier's interview. Something that y'all should definitely stay tuned till the end for, because it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. We'll be right back.
Who will help pay the butcher?
Leads us on to our second focus point, the rule of our hands. Now we're going to adopt one of 2 positions. The first is the W position. Thumbs together, palms facing up in order to make a W. We use the W position when we track the ball and think it's going to arrive above our chest. The second is the M position. Use the fingers together, palms facing down in order to make an M.
Did you know you're supposed to make a W when you catch?
It's important to keep your hands held up, hands soft, so that when the ball does touch your palms, you can grasp the ball, give it a big hug to make sure that it stays in your hands.
Launch speed angle again.
Here we can see
Welcome back, guys. We've summoned Randy.
Oh, jeez. That's right. I'm coming through your computer screen. Coming right for you right now. I just said screen instead of screen. Look, what a great start.
Dude, we've been all struggling today, but it's fine.
I know. You know what it is? It's something in the Virginia air. I think they're pumping something in us. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like, God only knows.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. We all were up super late last night. I was covering the Virginia Tech Pitt game, and let me tell you, I've been to Lane Stadium several times. I've never heard that building get quite as loud as it did last night. And it was such a lit environment. But I also didn't get to bed until like 3 a.m. I know Randy was about the same time.
Yep. I was singing all last night.
I didn't even ask you.
No, I just stayed up playing games.
No, if my voice sounds scratchy for the record, yeah, I was up singing till like 3. It was wonderful. It was great, but like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long night for all of us, but here we are filming probably my favorite project that we get to do.
Absolutely.
And, do what? What? So this next part is one of my favorite segments. Randy is going to give us a weird sport with some weird, fantastic facts to go along with it. What do you got for us today, Randy?
You know, this week I actually have a special sport, and it ends up that this sport is a lot bigger than I realized at first, which is why I want to pitch this, because I actually am going to be actively following this sport as well. We did sumo in the test episode, correct?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate because I was really passionate when I learned about sumo. We'll probably get back to that on this show eventually. But this week, we have the wonderful sport of cycle ball.
I have no idea what that is. You're going to have to explain
cycle
this.
Ball. So check this out. I wrote down the exact pitch, like in one sentence. You ready? Cycle ball is soccer on a basketball court with bikes.
Okay.
Wait,
that
what?
sounds terribly dangerous.
That sounds very dangerous.
It is. You would be surprised. I actually have a little bit of like, surprisingly, there wasn't a lot of like informational research I could find on this, but I found a lot of footage, like a lot of the championships and watching players. So a lot of this information I'm giving you is going to be based on observation, admittedly in this case. but I think I have the notes down. I actually did find a really helpful YouTube channel. I'll shout out now real quick. GCN, the Global Cycling Network. And this guy does a bunch of cycling stuff, but he had a really good informative video that helped me understand what I was watching. First things first. So, there's both a male and female international championship that happens every year. Those championships are held by, look at me looking through my notes, the UCL, or the UCI, excuse me. And the UCI works through both Europe and Asia, and it kind of works in a World Cup type of situation. My bad.
What is it? Does it stand for the Universal Cycling Institute? What does it stand for?
Yes.
Did I get that?
You did get
I
that.
believe so.
Nailed it.
Oh yeah!
Oh!
Admittedly, like,
That would have been
everywhere
way
I looked
cooler
for
if we were
that
next
too,
to each other, because then it would have like high five through the screen. But anyways, continue.
it was kind of funny because I didn't have a lot of text-based information. I really didn't find a proper like word for it, because they literally only show like UCI right on the screen. You know what I mean? There's never really like an underneath. It doesn't tell me what it is.
Right.
I'm sure I could have done a bit of further research on that, but my dad came into town today.
But that's less fun.
It was a quick day. That all being said, so I just want to kind of describe how a few of the actions work in this so you guys understand what you're getting into. First comes to first, dribbling. You know how in soccer you dribble the ball in front of you. You would kick it forward and you kind of bat it back and forth. That allows you to do special moves like juke players with the ball, things like that. So this literally works the same way, but on a bike. So what happens is the ball is in front of them. The ball is made out of horsehair and is really hard, so it doesn't bounce around a lot, because if it bounced around a lot while people are on bikes, that can get extremely dangerous. And so they have this really dense ball in front of them, and they use the front wheel, and they lean the bike up and tap the ball back and forth as they're moving forward towards the goal.
What? That sounds insanely difficult.
It's crazy. Well, and it helps that the bikes are designed the way they are, because that's actually another thing. When I describe cycle ball,
bikes. Okay.
yeah, you're thinking of like a bicycle, like you
Right.
know, the seat's right in the middle. You got the two wheels below, and you got the regular frame handlebars that like just kind of jut out to the sides. You know what I mean? Even like bicycles with like the little horns that come off on the end of the handles. That is not the bikes we're working with on this. So the bikes in this case have the same bottom frame, except the seat, instead of being in the middle, is actually behind the back wheel.
So it's
Right?
behind the back wheel, so they can. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, so they can, so what they're, it's meant to stand on. The handlebars kind of look like a football goalpost. I think that's a good, like a NFL football goalpost. It goes out to the side like a U, kind of a short U, and then the handlebars go upwards really vertically. And this allows them to be able to pull up on those handlebars and twist their wheel more accurately. In the meantime, they can also sit back on that back seat, which allows them to flick the wheel up with better balance and more control, as the bikes are also really lightweight.
Right.
That makes more sense.
Was that easy to follow? Like, sorry if
yeah.
that was like...
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
So basically, they put the seat behind the wheel for the leverage. So when they pull back on those handlebars that are extended, they get more. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just lift it right up. Not only that, but another thing that's I thought was interesting too is the pedals themselves are made out of rubber. And that's because like it's such a close quarters game, they don't want players to like cut their ankles on like a plastic pedal, for example, or a metal pedal, which is kind of the standard, I guess, in that case. But
Yeah.
they're made out of like rubber so that it just bounces off of everything. Now, that all being said, standard matches are 2-on-2. So 2 players on one side, 2 on the other. I saw a match of 5-on-5, but I don't think it was like regulated or standard. I'm pretty sure like as far as the world championship goes and the main like league goes, it's 2 players versus 2. One plays as a goalie, one plays a bit more offensively, but it kind of works like Rocket League if you know anything about that video game.
Yeah.
You know,
That
where you
makes
have
sense.
like the teams are smaller and it makes it work better.
So do they cycle up on the walls to hit the ball like in Rocket League?
That would be amazing, but no, it's all on a flat surface.
Oh.
In fact, most of the out of bounds are kind of covered by a small wall because the ball doesn't bounce. So
Right.
like it'll go in the air and can go out of bounds, but the chances without it bouncing are a lot less likely.
So it's a wall just tall enough to trip over.
Yeah, basically. And actually, falling off your bike, I think it's a penalty. Admittedly, it was kind of hard to tell based on footage, but what I could tell was when someone gets knocked off on a bike, it kind of comes down to whether they were pushed off of that bike by one of the other teammates or one of the other team players, or if they fell off on their own. If they fall off on their own, it just gets reset, and if somebody hits them, it's a penalty, and they get a free penalty shot.
That's lame. I was hoping it was going to be like NBA Jam.
You
Run out and push people off.
That would be
like
so
hit them
wild.
and then knock them over and just like pedal over them and just okay, all right.
Speed bump 'em. And there's that one biker, he always goes back for seconds. The guy's on the ground, he's like, no, don't do it again. He's like, no,
Insert ludicrous song. Y'all know the one I'm talking about.
Now, before I get
yeah.
into
Get out
a
the
few,
way.
Yeah.
before I get into a few more of the mechanics, only because I think it's kind of funny. The 2023 championship happened about a month ago, and both the women's and the men's championship was won by the same country. And I want to see what y'all think country got it, just because I think it's funny.
Do we have any context of who was playing?
European and Asian countries only.
Okay.
Liechtenstein.
Oh.
No, that'd be awesome though.
I'm gonna
Can
go.
you imagine?
You know what? Let me go with my heritage. I'm gonna go with the Philippines.
Nope.
No.
It was Germans. It was the Germans.
All right, I didn't hear him.
You didn't hear him?
No, I'm going to say French. Let's give them something.
You said France?
Yeah.
That was a really good guess. No, it was Germany. Super
Oh.
close.
That's pretty crazy.
In fact, I didn't. The women's league, it didn't look like they did anything past first place. But in the men's league, it was Germany in first, Switzerland in second, and Austria in third.
Okay. All right.
So we can
So it
only
seems
do
like that one, like kind of like
team.
Middle European type of thing, you know?
So what you're telling me is that me and Chris need to start a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would be so in. While I was watching this, like it definitely takes a certain amount of athleticism. Don't get me wrong.
Also,
But
then we
it
must lose.
definitely.
I need to get back in shape, man. Like,
It
Oh,
just
I'm in
yeah,
shape.
it looked like a really
It's
fun like
hysterical.
sport. It was super entertaining to watch and everything.
I'm going to need to bring in some NBA Jam rules before I start doing that, though. I'm going to need to road rash kick somebody off their bike.
All right, so here's the first thing. Cycleball has been around since 1893, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been around forever. There was an interview on the Global Cycling Network with one of the guys, and he's been playing it since he was 5. I thought this was like a recent thing. You know, that guy was like probably 25 in that interview. I thought this was like a recent, like 10-year-old sport. Like, oh, that's cool. But no, it's been around forever. Like, this is a huge thing in Europe.
I wonder when they got the new bikes, because like when you think of old bikes from then, you think of like the Penny Farthington bikes. It's got a huge front wheel, which would be hilarious.
That's true. I guess I didn't even think of that. That probably did work that way somewhat, where the wheel in the front was bigger, because that's actually like the shooting wheel. Basically like to shoot, just to describe for people. So in the same way you would dribble and lift your bike above the ball and maneuver it, to shoot, you also lift that the bike up. And most people instinctively would hit it with the front of the tire, you know, turn it towards the ball and try to launch it a certain direction, right?
Right.
But the correct move is to turn away from the ball so the back of the front wheel hits it, and you can get air and everything. Like, some of these guys were taking, like, the craziest trick shots I've ever seen in sports, let alone in cycle ball, you know? Not to just say it like that, but I've never heard of this, you know?
I I'd like to see some NBA players try this sport.
Right? I was thinking BMXers too. I bet you BMX people could like hop right in it because the guy who was comparing bikes said they're both equally like lightweight. So I bet BMXers could kind of like maneuver it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, if you want a good trick shot video, by the way, cycleball player shows off his insane trick shots on YouTube. It's like a minute and a half long, but just blew my mind. This dude's bike riding skills are just, like, dude's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that sounds like such a fun sport.
I want to see one of these bikes, and I want to ride one of these bikes.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a Google.
I don't want to kick somebody else one of these bikes.
I guess I should have provided a picture for the people who have the video aspect of this. I might do something in post or something. But the bikes do look really weird. They look normal in the sense of, like, it's clearly a bicycle. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, like, it's just different. It's like a bicycle. It's like having a pistol with a rifle stock on the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, it just looks kind of weird.
Pretty much
like
exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, they literally just moved the seat.
Oh,
to the back.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So basically, right? The one player who was being interviewed explained that there are 3 major skills you need to make this all happen, right? Skill number 1 is shooting the ball into the net. And the net it's not like a full soccer net. It's definitely more like, if you've seen any handball or any lacrosse, you know, like a smaller, one person can cover that whole net, you know? You also need track standing, which describes the position in which you put your leg in front of the handlebar so that you can balance and stay still. Because let's say you're a goalie, you can't be moving back and forth and around. You have to be in one position, but your feet can't touch the floor and you cannot be off of your bike. You know what I mean? So they've developed a way using like a knee technique to keep the bike in a steady position so they don't have to move back and forth all the time.
Right.
And that leads to skill number 3, which is skating. Being able to be in that position and then immediately sprint off, you know? Almost like you're on your feet. Because this is a really agile sport. The people doing this are quick, you know? So it kind of like, honestly, the more I think about it, Rocket League is a really good comparison if anyone is a gamer listening to this.
I wonder if a Rocket League developer played cycle ball.
Yeah, I'm sure they were like heavily inspired because like it works really similarly, even with like reversing and moving forward, and the fact you're in a vehicle, like so it really plays like that.
You get the booster jets when you go to score, right?
yeah, I would hope so.
An explosion.
Yeah, then you hit the ball and you get blown back to the other side of the jet.
One other thing that I thought was interesting too is they were saying that the most common break on the bike is the spokes, because the ball is so dense and the spokes are the easiest place to hit the ball.
Yeah,
so there's always spokes popping off.
Yeah, they're not hitting from top to bottom. They're hitting from the side. Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, because they definitely come in from an angle. You know, you can't really just run right into the ball. You have to come in from the side and toss yourself up towards it.
Right.
I love that I'm doing all these physical actions. I know people on the podcast can't see me do that, but it's just kind of funny.
Sometimes it helps you describe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah.
They'll hear like wind moving and there's like a chair creaking. They're like, "What is that in the background?" But super entertaining sport overall. The last thing I had written here was in Asia, the league seems to be a bit smaller, but is just developing. So we're actually catching this sport in a really interesting part in its history, because it seems to be spreading more quickly right now due to social media and outreach like I guess I'm doing right here. It's just really interesting. I really respect the people who made this sport and who promote it, because everyone seems so passionate, you know? Yeah. It seems like something where kind of just this oddball sport that people really, really can get behind, and I just have a lot of respect for that at a certain level. it's hard to get someone into something that you know nothing about. So the fact that in just a couple of videos I'm speaking so avidly for this, it's really interesting,
Anybody who plays cycle ball that wants to come on and let us interview
I would
you,
absolutely love to interview
I would
you.
love that. That would be incredible.
That would be awesome. You're going to have to take a bite.
I know I actually did reach out to the UCI a little bit just to get a bit more information because I was having such a hard time finding or I was looking for a rule book, for example, or something that would give me just this is the standard. And I just couldn't find it. It might have been due to my own digging, but having had reach out to them, I do know that they do have a support number that we can always hit up. So
Maybe.
expect a potential thing with that in the future.
So I looked into it. UCI stands for Union Cycliste International.
Cyclist?
It looks French. It's Cycliste.
Cycliste.
Yeah. I mean, it might be pronounced I could be totally butchering that. Sorry, French people. But yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It definitely seemed like it was just a collective sport for that Central European area to start with, That's definitely where most of the passion seems to lie, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was a French league at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Well.
And that's
all you got?
Cycle ball.
Sweet. All right, well, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then when we get back...
Now we're doing the Xavier interview?
Now we're doing the Xavier interview.
We're doing the Xavier interview.
We're doing it. It's going to be...
Get it, Zay.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. We're really looking forward to it. We'll be right back right after this, and we'll be right back with Xavier.
Please sponsor us.
And because it's tradition, hey everybody, just some Randy time. I love all of you. Bye!
Hi guys, it's Chris, Joey, and Randy with Sportsballogy. Have you ever thought to yourself, man, I have money and nothing to throw it at? How about, I'm really tired of owning 15 yachts? Well, how about you put that money to good use and sponsor your own sportsbologist today? For only insert amount here, you can help protect our sportsbologists from becoming even more ignorant about what goes on in the world of sports. From basketball, baseball, football, or any balls for that matter, you can make a difference today. Take it away, Chris.
Thanks, Joey. Sports blindness is a serious affliction, but for the same cost as just cups of coffee, you can sponsor a sportsbologist today. We'll send you a brochure with their birthday and other fun facts while you watch them learn and grow. Look at this puppy. Look at this little kitty. Won't you sponsor a sportsbologist today?
Recording started.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Bro, I missed that. I wish they still did that.
Oh, the old Nickelodeon.
Nick.
Nickelodeon. Yeah.
It was better than
Nick. I don't know that.
And then Nick at Night. And...
Yeah. There was Snake and all that. Like Keenan and Kel, should I say Kel and Keenan, because Keenan be scheming with a plan or a plot to make it at the top, but they're kind of in the middle because they always get caught. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my god. That's like dropping bars.
Yeah, right? And that's how we come back to Sportsballogy. All right. That's an entrance. Yeah, I guess.
I love Keenan and Kel.
All right, so we are back, and we have a very special guest with us. It is Xza Williams. He is a wrestler for Averett University, and let me tell you, this guy is a dog. Like, I have seen him wrestle, and boy, let me tell you, he will pin you in 2.5 seconds and not even blink an eye.
I like standing contests.
So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Major, year, sport, hometown, things like that, and tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, what up? I'm Xza Williams. I'm here to wrestle at Averett University. I'm from Botetourt County. Hard place to find us over there in the 540, right beside Roanoke. Little old town. Went to a school called Lord Botetourt High School. I don't think anyone's heard of that, actually. No one even knows who Lord Botetourt is. I wrestled and played football there, but ended up not playing football and decided to continue wrestling here at Averett. Best place to come to, kind of. Cool little school. And I'm in my freshman year here. I'd say that's about it.
All right. So I guess that kind of leads me to, why Averett University?
Why Averett? I'd say their nursing program. When I had initially came here, all the coaches were pushing towards me since I was trying to look for a science and health major. They were all really big on their nursing program because it's actually really good here. And I'd say since their wrestling team is up there in the ranks of D3, like they're a top 20 school for D3 in wrestling. So it's up there. It wasn't too far from home. It's just basically perfect for me. Better than Noke, too.
Yeah.
Hold up, so you'll be a wrestler and a nurse, so when the patients get on roll, you'll be able to choke them out and then put them in the bed? We don't need an anesthesiologist. We have Xavier, he'll knock them out.
I was there. Yeah, I was literally going to say the same thing. Of just like, so not only can he absolutely kill you, but he can bring you back to life and then kill you again.
Xavier, what made you want to be a wrestler?
Oh, what made? All right. So I didn't even want to wrestle initially. I fell in love with the sport after, our football coaches told us we had to wrestle to stay in shape. So obviously I'm going to listen to the coaches to be better at football. But I had started winning in middle school, and I felt like I really belonged in the sport. So I just kept wrestling and never really stopped from there.
So what was the recruiting process like? You went into it a little bit and, how they really pushed hard on their academic side of it because it was something that was really important to you. What else kind of went into that recruiting process and, how did you kind of get to this point?
Here, they're really big on, making sure you're in contact with all the coaches. When you're looking at D1, D2 schools, they're only going to bring in one or two coaches, and they'll barely talk to you. They'll only talk to about the school. But here they made sure they had, a personal experience with you. You had a chance to get to know them beyond just the sport. And we talked to, wrestlers and each other, even when you're just a recruit. So it's more than just, here's our best kids and no one else. It's like a one-team aspect. Everyone's going to get better, whether you're first, second, third, fourth string. Gives you a chance to be your best self.
So, that's actually really awesome because not a lot of schools have that mentality, like you said. I know on a lot of recruiting trips and a lot of the recruits that I talk to, they pretty much get handed the, flagship stars that most schools have. So obviously that can be exciting, but what other aspects about wrestling for Averett really kind of excite you, and what are you looking forward to going into your freshman season?
Wrestling specifically at Averett is the energy that the team brings all together, because when you look at other teams, they'll travel around and no one will really care about what their teammates are doing. But here, it's truly one team. I know it's a big point here, just all one team, but everyone's always hyped for anyone, whether it's your first win or your 100th win. And it's pretty hype environment to be into for wrestling, at least. Maybe not other sports, but this is a fun group of kids to be around. I'm a fan of their color scheme. Their drip is pretty nice. We're a Nike school, so I get to wear Nike drip all the time, blissfully.
Heck yeah, man. That's pretty sick. I do love the blue and gold. Blue and gold was my alma mater as well for a little while there.
No one like that. Not that blue and gold.
So, how did you get hooked up with Vince McMahon? Or have you met him yet? Is that later in the recruitment process?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
How did you get hooked up with Vince McMahon here? Or is that later in the recruitment process? Because, I imagine he doesn't have time to meet all the freshmen. He's a pretty popular dude, I assume.
I'd say he's pretty elusive because I haven't gotten the chance to, talk to him yet. Maybe he's around, not just can't see him. It's like the clown hiding from me or something.
No, that's John Cena.
My bad, you can't see me.
Oh man, what's your favorite thing about Averett so far?
How homely it is. Like, yeah, I thought I'd be homesick leaving home and coming to school, but it's a pretty small school, so everyone knows everyone, and you get a chance to be inclusive and talk to people from all sorts of backgrounds.
All right, yeah, dude, that's important. I know family's a huge thing for you. Your family is awesome. So what are some of your like biggest role models or influences, both like on and off the mat?
On the mat, none of them. I am my own role model. I wake up and piss excellence. It's a daily.
Heck yeah.
No one's doing better than me. But off the mat, I'd say good old Jonathan Bowles is a great influence. He's a great person to follow. Great way to model your life.
For those that don't know, Jonathan Bowles is me and Xavier's grandfather. Yeah.
He's the GOAT is what he is.
He is the GOAT. That is for sure. There's not a moment like you shoot that man a text and it doesn't even matter like what he's doing. He's gonna drop everything and be there. So definitely shout out Mr. Jonathan Bowles. Grandpa, we love you, bro.
So, Xavier, personally, I'm a little scared of unsecured heights. What was it like the first time you climbed up on the turnbuckle?
Fortunately, we wrestle in a circle on the mat, so I don't really have to worry about that too much. But anytime someone's taller than me, I do get scared pretty much out of my pants. I would say. It's scary wrestling tall kids because you feel like short, buff kids are going to be weak and fear because they're going to be stronger, but tall people are so lengthy they can grab you in ways you really don't want to be grabbed. Pause.
No, I used to. My brother's the same way. Like, he's a tall, lanky one. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, but for the record, I mean, okay, so Randy just put down in the ticker that Xavier is 7'11", but he's not that tall. But Xavier is really tall.
I'm only like 6'1".
I mean, that's still really tall.
Short.
So, okay, so if that's the case, how many people are actually taller than you that you get to a point where you're like...
That's a good question.
In wrestling, slim to never. It's been since, like, my junior year where someone was taller than me and I was intimidated just by their height. Like, normally, I'm the tallest kid around. I think there's only been, like, one or two kids to where they got some height on me.
So, what do you want to say to your fans that have been requesting a tag team match, and who would your partner be?
I don't need a partner, honestly. I could take the 2v1, honestly.
Are you doing a handicap match?
She's gonna...
You could send both of them at me at once. I don't care who I'm against. I got a hands down.
I respect that answer. Looks like we got a new Goldberg on our hands here.
Yeah, for real. I mean, Xavier said, "Bring it on." I don't care. Like,
okay, well, if that's the case, when do you think you're going to be ready for a championship belt shot?
We don't get to wear belts. Hopefully, I can get a ring.
Okay.
Pretty soon here. I don't know. It's all in what I do. It's in my capabilities. 100%.
Have you chosen an intro song?
Oh. There's one song. I think it's "Sensual Chocolate." I don't remember who walked out. But that was going to be my walkout song for senior night, but they canceled on us last second. I wish I had a walkout song.
Oh, man.
I want it to be seductive.
So in college, they don't give you walkout songs?
I don't think so. I mean, you see like D1 schools like Penn State and Iowa sometimes have walkout songs, but normally that's not something wrestlers really get. You get out there, they'll call your name. I feel like calling your name is all you need.
I mean, hey, fair enough. So, like, with that being said, like, moving into game day, what are some of your, like, favorite, like, game day rituals?
There is no ritual. I wake up and I'm ready. I'm locked in day one.
All right.
But I'd say I start off most of my match days. I listen to music all day. I try and, like, ignore everyone around me. Or if I'm hyped, like it's home, I'm turning up. I'm making sure everyone knows that it's match day. I'm making sure everyone's hyped for match day. Everyone should be there. You got to get the word around. And then pre-match itself, I'm just locked in, listening to music, just walking around. I don't need too much. When you're excellent like me, you don't need all that. No special socks or nothing. I don't need all that. Socks don't win championships.
Well, so I guess, on your way to the championship, what is your finishing move, and what was your inspiration behind it? You've got choke slams for Tombstone Pile Drivers Classic. How did you come up with yours?
Me personally, most people get knocked out by the time I'm starting, so I don't even need a finisher.
Okay.
I just get my, I get my Turk in, I lift that leg up, and they're on their back. I get my quick count, and I'm off on my way.
Okay.
I think that was the greatest answer we probably could have gotten to that question. Oh man! All right. Okay. So let's go to this. What would be your biggest piece of advice for someone looking to possibly be in your shoes one day and be a collegiate wrestler?
The biggest piece of, honestly, to get here, it doesn't take too much. You just got to be focused and grind. It's all on your athletics and your school. School was a big part that I didn't think mattered as much, because you'd see these big old dudes, 6'4", 6'5", amazing athletes with like the lowest GPAs on the planet, but still going to big schools. So I thought it was just all athletics, but school does matter. If you got a 3.5 and you're placing in your state, you're getting your offers no matter what. Nothing can stop you. It's not a hard sport. There are offers that go not taken at a lot of schools. I know places like Liberty probably would still take kids.
So, I got one last question here for you. And so I started a rumor about you a few minutes ago that you like to eat 3.5 handfuls of sand before each match. Is that true?
No, you're wrong. It's 5.5. I got to get my weight down.
Oh, okay.
You gotta weigh in, so I'm really light when I weigh in. So the more sand I can manage to fist into my mouth, the heavier I'm gonna be. These kids can't pick me up. I'm heavy as a stone.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god, that was such a best response. I'm dying. All right, well, this was by far, I think, the most entertaining interview I've ever done. So thank you, Xavier. That was amazing. We wish you the absolute best of luck. We're definitely gonna have to come down and catch a match. That would be incredible. But yeah, we wish you the best of luck this season. And we'll be keeping an eye out for you, man.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good luck, bro. Nice meeting you.
See y'all.
I don't know. We get our ninja moves in.
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling inspired now after that incredible interview.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that is the end of the podcast. I hope you guys had. Do what? This was such a great episode. I cannot wait till the next one. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. On behalf of Randy, so since he's in the background, and myself, and Chris, we hope you guys have a great night.
In the background, I'm right here.
Oh no, he's back!
Just want to say goodbye, everyone. We love you.
Peace out. Catch y'all later.
Thank you for checking out Sportsballogy.
All right, Chris. Let's try this one more time.